Hey gang, Luke Austin here with our Week 2 Fantasy Football Recap. Now, like I said, I'm going to give you my predictions every Friday for the Fantasy Football weekend. Then I'm going to come back on Tuesday and admit to everything I got wrong. And I'm going to throw in a couple of things that I may have gotten right as well. This week was kind of 50-50 for me. I had a couple of predictions that were just terrible, and I had a couple few that make me look really smart. So we're going to start off with the ones I got wrong, just in case that's all you're interested in. And starting off with what I got wrong, I said Jared Goff wouldn't be too bad of a reach for a quarterback for 1 week. 1 touchdown, 224 yards. You're going to want a little bit more than that for a guy that you need at the quarterback position. Continuing on with quarterbacks, Jay Cutler, I said, wouldn't be too bad of a play. 1 touchdown, 230 yards isn't going to get you enough points to win when you need a quarterback. Jared Cook, tight end from Oakland. I said he's a great security blanket for Derek Carr. They've got a ton of weapons. They'll have to spread the ball around. Well, they only got him the ball 4 times, and he had 25 yards. So Jesse James, Pittsburgh tight end, same deal. I was like, okay, they're playing a tough Minnesota defense. They're going to have to spread the ball around. Antonio Brown, Martavius Bryant, Le'Veon Bell are going to be covered. Well, Martavius Bryant went off, leaving Jesse James with just 4 receptions for 24 yards. So sorry about that, and don't worry, one of my fantasy teams suffered with that as well. And finally, the last thing I got terribly wrong was the Lions receiver Kenny Golladay. Now, he had 2 touchdowns in Week 1. Stafford has publicly said how much he loves the kid, but with the tough Giants defense last night, Golladay only had 1 reception for 8 yards. But if you have him, I'm telling you, keep him in your lineup. He's going to score throughout the season. Now moving on to a couple of things I'm going to say that I got right. We had the question from Matthew about Derek Carr or Drew Brees. Carr came out with 3 touchdowns, 230 yards. Drew Brees, 356 yards, 2 touchdowns. In standard scoring leagues, that's about a point difference. So I guess that's a push. We'll go with that. It makes me feel better. Matthew Stafford, I said to play him against the Giants last night. Didn't have the greatest night in the air, only 122 yards, but he still had the 2 touchdowns. If you're in a 6-point touchdown league, that's a pretty decent night for a quarterback against a heck of a Giants defense. Carlos Hyde, San Francisco 49ers, they didn't do anything this week. I think they only scored 9 points. But like I said, Carlos Hyde was on the field for 78% of their offensive possessions in Week 1. Same deal with Week 2. And he came out with 3 receptions, which if you're in a PPR league, there's 3 solid points, 19 yards, and then he had 124 yards rushing. So a pretty solid day from Carlos Hyde, despite the fact that the Niners aren't looking the greatest on offense. Then another one that I'm very proud of, Ty Montgomery, the Green Bay Packers. I told you, if you got a PPR league and you need a running back, he's a great play. He had only 35 yards rushing, but a touchdown, and then he had 6 receptions for 75 yards through the air and another touchdown. So a solid day from Ty Montgomery in Green Bay. If you played him because I told you to, you're welcome. If you played him on your own, then you're smarter than I am. And then the other thing that I would say I got right is I told you to sit your Colts and your Jets. So I have the Colts stats right in front of me. Jacoby Brissett, 216 yards and an interception. Frank Gore had 46 yards rushing. He did get into the end zone, but that was it. Let's see, he didn't have a catch at all. T.Y. Hilton, 4 receptions, 49 yards. Dante Moncrief, 2 for 18. So if you had Jack Doyle at your tight end, you got 79 yards and 8 receptions out of him, but still a terrible day from the Colts, and I guess that's what we're going to expect going forward throughout the season. Same thing with the New York Jets. McCown did manage to throw 2 touchdowns, but if you had Josh McCown starting at quarterback, then you must be playing in like a 30-team league or something like that. Forte, 53 yards on the ground. Bilal Powell, only 6 carries, 13 yards. Their receiving wasn't much better. Again, if you had Jermaine Kearse, then you're just a fantasy genius and you can start giving me tips. But I said to sit your Jets and your Colts, and I'm going to go ahead and say that was a win for me. So if you have any questions going forward for Week 3, we're going to kick that off. The video's on Friday, but send me your questions all week long. You can send them to luke@bigfrog104.com or hit us up through our Facebook page. I'll be back on Friday for our Week 3 predictions.